Lochwood 92, we've seen you in a minute. Andy GSA Tractor, happy birthday for tomorrow, Andy. Big 5-0. Lucky you. Peaky Biker, how are you doing, mate? Or Mucker, should I say? Phil Green, Blake, John McPhee, good to see you, mate. Yeah, so tonight we have a Scottish-themed podcast with Ayreshire Vlogster, Lochwood 92, and Teapotone. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to bring in the normal team, which is a new biker, Western Super Motor Vlog, and Saddlebag 73. How you doing, guys?
All good, all good. Thank you.
Hello. Good. What have you been up to at the weekend? Let's start with Phil today.
I have been fitting some new parts to my Sportster and going out for a ride today for the first time, because yesterday was just a stay at home and get crap done day. Yeah, today was a good day.
Yeah, I hate those get crap done days. That you mean the missus has made a list?
I don't mind getting crap done as long as it's in the garage on my stuff.
Yeah. So this is your bike here. So is that the pegs that have been fitted now? The new ones, is it?
Yeah. I fitted forward controls to it this morning. So I'm pretty pleased with it. The only thing I've got left to do now is a tank lift. And I think that's pretty much sorted then.
Why do you need to lift the tank?
Because of the way it looks.
Just looks better, does it?
It just it's like the old 48 Harley had a raised tank on it. It's a better look. It's a cleaner look. Opens it up a little bit, and it's just personal preference. You know, you don't need to do it.
Oh, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Saddle, what have you been up to?
Oh, I've been very, very busy, as you know. But I got Ernie out for the first time today this year, so I thought I'll make a motor vlog while I'm out, and I took 2 flat batteries with me, so that was a fail. But
oh no,
nice ride on the bike still.
We've all done that one. Where did you go?
Just out round sort of Roadford Reservoir.
Yeah,
in Devon, actually.
Yeah, Ernie's the perfect bike, isn't he, for around Dartmoor trips like that?
Yeah, well, it wasn't Dartmoor, but it was some nice country lanes. Lovely. New back tyre on that one today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the Avon that you got on there?
Yeah.
Are you getting on with that? Are they good?
Yeah, it came with Avons. I'm sticking with them. They're pretty good.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Noob, what have you been up to? Oh, we lost Phil. Hello. Have I done something wrong?
I've hidden Phil. I've been busy. I went out yesterday with Ayreshire Rides. We rode down to Colchester, Kawasaki in absolutely horrendous rain. Horrendous. Because I had booked a test ride on the Moto Guzzi V100. I still took it out. I made it absolutely filthy. I felt sorry for those guys when I brought it back. I said, "Here you go. Here's your bike. Here's your lovely bike, full of muck." But yeah, I had rain all the way through. Rain on my camera, rain on the phone. Completely ruined what I wanted to do, but still went out and had fun.
Yeah. What did you think of the bike? I'm expecting you're going to tell us in the video, but.
Yeah, spoilers. I liked it. I liked it. I really do. I think it's a great bike. Sounded fantastic. Lots of character. I like the fact that it's shaft drive, because I had to clean the chain on the Z1000 today because it was got absolutely filthy. But yeah, I do like it. I think it's a gorgeous looking bike.
Yeah. Is that the one where the Hippodrone's done a video and the little wings come out the side?
Yeah, it has the little arrow things. And the lady Shona at Colchester Kawasaki, who was a star, put it in rain mode for me, and I just kept it in rain mode because it was absolutely wet yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely chucking down, was it?
Yeah. And in rain mode, those wings are out all the time.
Yeah. Have you guys caught up with Old Wild and Free, their video today?
Yeah, just saw it about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It is. It's nice to see Helen back on the bike again, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a big hit, wasn't it? She took.
Yeah, that was it was. It was a bit of a fall, to say the least. But I hope they're all right now.
Yeah.
I will just put up their channel, actually. These guys, it's a fantastic channel that Saddle put me onto, actually. And the videos are about 20 minutes, Saddle, is that right? Generally speaking? Yeah. But it is a good 20 minutes, isn't it? It really
do you know what? I rate his stuff over Itchy Boots now. Dare I say it?
Yeah, I do too. actually. Yeah, I do too. It's really good that the way that I mean, basically, it's a chap who's quite experienced, isn't it? He's on a Royal Enfield Himalayan, and his French girlfriend, she's on a Sinister Terrain 125. And he's taught her. Well, they've basically gone out Green Laning together and learned how to off road.
As a build up to this series, really, yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah. Series 2, they've gone to Morocco. Unfortunately, she had a quite a big fall. And anyway, it's good to see her back on the bike, and I won't say any more about that to ruin it for anyone else. But
no.
Right then, let's bring in the Scottish boys. So first of all, we have Lochwood 92. Oh, sorry, Rob.
How are we doing, guys?
On his phone then. How rude.
Can you hear me okay?
What?
All good, mate.
Yep, all good.
Good. You can hear me.
Yeah. Ayreshire Vlogster, and somebody who doesn't need too much of an introduction. Teapotone, Bruce. Hello.
Good luck, folks. How you doing?
Very well.
Good, Bruce.
Good,
Royalty in the house.
A beer competition.
So how are you guys doing? You been out on the bikes at all?
I was away last week. I was away on tour last week, first tour of the year. Yeah, that was an event. Apart from that, no, not really been out on the bike much at all. Just
is that because it
the
snowed
office.
a lot there, didn't it? Is that right?
Aye, we got caught. You know that big snowstorm that hit over here, I believe, when we were over there? We were doing Luxembourg, a little bit of Germany. We went as far as the Nürburgring, just to say we'd been there, basically. It was mostly like the Ardennes forest all around Luxembourg and Belgium, those sorts of places. So coming back through Germany into through the Ardennes, that snowstorm hit, and it wasn't forecast to hit the way it did. And wow, literally in the space of about an hour, it went from 9 degrees, dry roads, having a great time, to total whiteout. Basically, everybody was dropping their bikes. One lad actually dropped his bike twice and ended up, I think he's broke 4 ribs and his ankle. It was just walking pace, but we ended up having to abandon the bikes and get taxis to the hotel and wait a day and a bit for the rain to come in and wash all the snow away, and then rescue the bikes and get home. It was eventful.
I guess that's your worst fear, isn't it? When somebody gets injured on a tour that you've taken them on. It's not your responsibility, but you still feel.
Aye, you do feel responsible, yeah. And I mean that was freak weather, but you still feel responsible for it. It was weird. The chap involved, he might be watching this actually. He was sort of walking wounded. You know, he was complaining about his ribs and limping a bit, but he was still riding the bike. And then once we got to the hotel, he was still walking about and, you know, having beers and food with us in the evening.
Yes.
So we just thought, well, it can't be broke. It must just be bruised. So, yeah, you know, you'll be all right. Come on, just power through it. And then he rode all the way back to the UK from there as well. And literally got home, had his dinner, and then thought, I'll just pop to A&E and make sure.
Yeah.
That was it, 4 broken ribs and a broken ankle.
Wow.
So, what a man's as hard as iron.
What a trooper.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Incredible, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you, Lochwood, you're starting to make the videos again, aren't you? After a little
back in it.
break.
I took a wee just over Christmas. I hadn't been out much, to be fair, and I just took a back seat for a few weeks. Because I mean, if you're throwing a video out once a week, it takes a lot of editing. You know, it takes a lot of your time. I changed jobs recently, so I've been kind of sticking my head in that more. Just try to get up to speed with that for the last few months. But I'm now, as the lighter nights are coming in, you know it hits you again and you just want to get out. So I've been out 2 or 3 times so far this year. The last one I done was about 2 weeks ago. We went down towards Isle of Whithorn, which is down the west coast, past Stranraer. Stopped off there and then started coming back across to New Galloway and through Castle Douglas and back along the coast again, which was it's a full day out. But yeah, it's good. Getting back into it again. I'm starting.
What sort of mileage is that you've done that day? Was that big miles?
Probably, close to 150 miles, maybe.
Okay.
150, 200 miles. Yeah.
That's a nice amount, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's all you need. And even though it was cold, it was dry. The sun was out. It was good. There was 3 of us out that day, which was excellent.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Anyone
enjoyed
that we
that.
know? Any other motor vloggers, or is it just your own friends?
Well, I've got a mate, Grahams, who's the guy that painted the VFR back there. I got to know Grahams through him painting the bike. He's a biker as well, and he's been on a couple of my earlier vids, and he's quite close to me, so we tend to go out quite a lot. So let's fill off again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we tend to go out quite a lot. So yeah, we had Grahams, who doesn't really do that much vlogging anymore, and a friend that he brought along. So it was only 3 of us, but it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark,
Yeah.
you been out at all?
Yeah, I was out about 10 days ago. I've been out a couple of times, similar to Lochwood. But 10 days ago, I went out for a kind of mess about. The roads were still pretty poor, and the traction wasn't where it should be. It showed up in one of my shorts. It turned into a tour in my kind of local area. The sun was out. It felt pretty good to be back out. So done a lot of kind of just a tour in my kind of area, just talking rubbish. The usual
Just nice
thing
to
you
get
do,
out, mate,
you know what I
innit?
mean?
Yeah.
But it got me out. Bikes all prepped, ready to go. Just past couple of days, it's been raining quite heavily, so the roads are nice and clean now. All we need is just a wee bit drier weather, and myself and Lochwood will be back out. You can guarantee it.
Yeah.
As soon
You
as
can
we
really
can.
feel that spring's around the corner now, can't you?
Aye.
You can really
Hopefully.
feel that spring
Aye,
is around the
yeah.
corner now.
Felt it today here.
Don't wanna curse
Don't
it, do we?
jinx it.
No, that's it. Yeah.
April.
Yeah, I
still
tell you
to
what,
come.
in Exeter,
April, May still
in
to
Exeter,
come.
in Exeter today, it's been absolutely stunning today. You know, proper warm springtime weather. So yeah, it's really good.
Nice.
Right, I normally start by finding out people's bike history. I think we'll start with Lochwood. I think. Let's start with you, mate. Tell us how you got into biking
Jeez, well,
and bikes that you've owned.
I had a couple of mates who'd been into bikes long before I did, and they'd always come to my place on a Saturday for a cup of coffee and rant about where they'd been and how much a close shave there was just before they came round that bend. And you was sitting to have a chat with them, but I was never really into bikes as such. And then one year I came into a wee bit of cash and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I did my CBT, did my direct access, and it kind of came on for there. And the mates that came round, he had an old Kawasaki Zephyr 750, which was bright yellow with a luminous orange wheels. And he sold me that bike just before I sat my CBT. And he was like, look, I want to sell it. It's a great bike if you want to take it.
This
I know
one?
you can't yeah. I know you can't really afford it now, but take it and just pay it up. So I paid him like £100 a month, and it sat there. I was itching to do it, and that was when I went and I had a wee bit of cash and I did my CBT, my direct access, and that was an awesome bike. Going from when I did my direct access, it was on a ER5. And going from that to an inline 4 750, which had been rebored to an 810, so it was just a wee bit quicker. That was where I started off. I'd only had that bike maybe 6 months, and then I bought a VFR 800 VTEC only because I liked the single-sided swing arm. I liked the fact that you could see the whole wheel on the back.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And that was the reason why I bought it. And I just fell in love with VFR since then. I just loved the
Is that
the
this
whole
VFR? Or
V4.
are we talking this one?
No,
The other one?
that's yeah, one similar to that. That's probably the bike I should never have sold. That's an American import, which was a 25th anniversary. Only came out in the States and Canada. You can't get them over here, but there was 1 or 2 imported way back in the day. And I bought that from a guy in Inverness who was a bike collector, and I kept that for a couple of years, and then sold it to somebody in Devon who came up with his dad in a van, and away they went with it. And I've tried about 3 or 4 times to buy it back off the guy, but he just won't sell me it.
Right.
That's nice.
So yeah, I don't know. I would love to get another, only because they're very, very rare in this country. You just don't get them.
No.
And you could probably do the colour scheme, but it wouldn't be the same. It's a particular type. And yeah, I would love to get one of them again. But that was the first one I got of that was just a silver VFR 800 VTEC, and I just loved it. And I went from, I must have had about 3 or 4 of those in my life so far.
They don't
get
really
another
age
at
the
some point.
VFRs, do they? You could put them in a showroom now if it was brand new, and it would still look, like it just.
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
off
They
the
still.
floor.
I think when they first came out, typical Honda. They tend to do something a wee bit outrageous. Do Honda, but yeah, it's still a
They used
modern
to.
looking bike.
Yeah.
It's still a modern looking bike. Yeah, I do like them. I've went from that. I've had a few Fireblades for the CBR 600. The list.
GSX?
If I had it, I maybe should have listed them, but yeah, that was it. Yeah,
That one.
there we go. Zerethau. Yeah, which is just, I'd have killed myself on that. Every time I went out on that, I came back with a smile on my face, and I sat back and thought, why am I still here? I should be dead. Honestly, it's an animal of a bike.
I love that bike. I can't
Yeah.
believe that bike's not a bigger seller. It's a fantastic machine for
Isn't it?
for these days. Not that much money.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it's
Suzuki
just
hit the
snobbery, to
sweet
be
spot.
honest. I think it's bike snobbery. Folk go, "Oh, Suzuki," and they almost dismiss Suzuki. But, geez, it's an incredible machine. I love it.
Yeah.
Out the wrapper.
I wonder if Suzuki lost
Aye.
a few fans when he brought out the Katana and those quirky looking, and the V-Strom was really quirky looking, wasn't it? 650 had that horrible headlight on it at one point.
I think they're going to
possibly.
lose. I think they're going to lose a big market now they've canned the GSXR. Now that's gone.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, that was Suzuki for me, but we'll see. We'll see.
But they do that. They've done that with the Busa as well. They canned
Aye.
that and then brought it back.
True, very true.
Is there no talk they're going to bring back the B King? That I've heard that is
Really?
possibly in the pipeline. That's a lovely bike, the B King.
That was great.
Why?
That was a good bike,
Yeah.
that.
Beautiful looking thing, and they still hold their value. I think the cheapest one you can get now, and you're talking 2007, I think was when they stopped making them, is about 6-7 grand if you wanted to buy one of them now.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a thumper of an engine. That's basically a naked Busa, isn't it? Lovely.
Yeah. Nice.
And you've also had the CB1000R as well.
Yeah, but you know what? I prefer the GSXS. Even though
Yeah.
that's a lovely looking bike, the GSXS, for me, out the wrapper, I had it a day and I was just wringing its neck. Whereas that, I felt like, I don't know, I just didn't gel with it the same. It might have been the tyres, the crappy Dunlop D207, I think it was on it, which are renowned for being really bad. And I just couldn't engage with that bike at all.
I do know what you mean.
Lovely looking
They
thing.
lack, dare I say it, they're a little bit over refined, aren't they? The CB1000Rs. I don't know if that's partly to do with that. I don't know, but maybe not.
Not ridden one.
Sorry, Exeter. Phil's asking to be let back in.
Oh, do apologise, Phil. Hello.
Tell him he's
There you
got
go,
to
mate.
dance.
Don't let him in.
I feel like a naughty boy now. He's been asked if he can be let back in.
Yeah, back in the
Phil,
corner.
that's a nice t-shirt you've got.
With my Wi-Fi tonight.
Bruce, we'll go over to you, mate. Where did you start with your biking life?
I'll try not to
I think
bore
most
everybody.
people know
with
this story. I think,
Yeah,
don't they? I
I'll
think
say-
you must have
I'll
done
try
this
not to bore
thousands
everyone
of
with the whole
times.
story. Basically, my mum lost her battle with cancer before she passed away. She knew I'd always wanted to ride bikes. I'd never ever done it for one reason or another, and she just said to me, look after those that you love, but live your life. And I'd always wanted to travel. Again, had never done it. So she was the impetus. She basically said, look after those that you love, but live your life. And that was it, really. I'd already booked my direct access before Mum passed away, so I passed my direct access. I bought a brand new GSXR 600, all black GSXR 600. That was there at P&H waiting for me.
No, I ain't got
No,
that one.
not
I'm
that
gonna
one.
find it, Bruce. I'm looking at thumbnails
worries.
about that big, mate.
No worries, pal. Yeah, so I picked up the Gixxer, rode that to St Christopher's Hospice where Mum was. She decided she wanted to pass away in a hospice rather than, she was living with me at the time, rather than in my flat. Shook the keys and I said, I've done it, I passed my test, and she gave us a big hug and said, right, promise you'll do this dream trip that I had, and that basically sent me on my journey. And
Yeah.
that was 2008, so I was quite late to the biking world. But trying to make
Did
up
you
for
ever
it.
do the 125 thing then? Did you ever only
Nope.
125 or no?
Never. The only 125 I'd ever ridden up until a couple of years ago was my CBT. Literally the morning before I started my DAS.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What was your first trip then on the GSXR?
My first trip was when I used to be in the Old Bill. So I'd passed my test in about, it was a matter of weeks. I think it was about 6 weeks after passing. A load of my mates, I used to work in a sort of specialised division. And within that, there was a bike surveillance, a lot of connections with bike surveillance, the unmarked plainclothes bike surveillance guys who are just on a different level. These guys race trains and planes. They're flat out. They go on the pavements. They do red lights. It's kamikaze. They've got I think a 4 to 6 month life expectancy. It's insane. So they were going on their annual trip to the Ball d'Or, the 24-hour enduro race over in Magnacourt. So they said, look, come with us. We're going to go on this trip. And I was like, I'll never keep up. So I said, don't worry about it. Just sit in the middle, do what we do. You'll be fine. So literally, I turned up at the Eurostar with them. We came off the Eurostar into France, and literally, well, none of us are in the job anymore, so who cares? I was literally pinned on a GSXR, 155, 160 mile an hour in a convoy of 15 bikes flying down the motorway for hours. It was just insanity. So that was my sort of introduction to bikes, and I just thought, I love this. This is amazing. And that was it really from then on. Yeah.
Was that this bike, Bruce? Was that the one?
No, that was my first 1000. It's a black Gixxer.
Right. I've got so many photos from you, mate.
I know, mate. I'm sorry.
I had to filter it through. No, it's fine. It's cool.
Yeah, so I had the Gixxer 600. I think I had that for about 8 months, and then decided I needed 1000. So I got that 1000, that blue one, traditional Gixxer colours. That's the one. That was my boy there next to me. And then I was young and stupid, single. So every year when a new reg came out, I had them all on the tick anyway. I bought them all on finance. So it was, I'll trade this in. Waste thousands, just trade it in, get the next one. They were all the same, but so I had a K9000, an L1000, then the L1, and the L1 was the one I was going to take on the big trip, but I threw it off a mountain in Germany and smashed that up. So I ended up getting that was the L1. That was an amazing bike. That was the fastest Gixxer I've ever had. It was phenomenal, that machine. A guy at my local dealership, all he said was, I've tweaked it. I don't know what he did, but it was amazing. But yeah,
how did that happen, Bruce? How did you bin that one? What happened?
I was riding like a dick, to be honest. I was in Germany in the Black Forest, trying to film my mate behind me. So I had a GoPro on my lid pointing back, and we were just being idiots, going way too fast around a mountain corner, knees on the deck, showboating, and I just hit. You get the what do they call it? The tar snakes. The sort of overbanding that fills up the cracks. So I hit sort of the middle of the road where the overbanding would be, but it had all been ripped up. So there was just a little channel in the road. So I basically low-sided, but because I was showboating with my knee on the deck, I didn't know that I'd lost the bike. The bike just sort of slid from underneath me, and I just caught the bike out the corner of my eye, sliding and pirouetting towards the edge of a mountain. I thought, well, this is good. So, I sort of flipped on my back and followed it off the mountain. So, that was a bad one. Broke my back and, did myself. Spent 5 days in a German hospital. Then I had to
you were lucky, really, then.
That
you broke your back and...
Shouldn't be here. So that was a big wake-up call, riding a little bit, not a little bit, way faster than my guardian angel should have been able to keep up. So that's
how you learn, though, Bruce, isn't it? When you're your level of riding, you have to kind of push the barriers and find out where that line is.
In those days, I wasn't, trained or anything. I was a trained driver in the Old Bill, but not on a bike, and I hadn't done any further bike training. I'd been lucky. When you start riding and you get quicker and quicker and you get more confident, you try different skills, and I was out riding with a lot of mates who are much more experienced, and I was managing to keep up, and I was getting away with it every time that something happened in front, and you just start getting a bit cocky, I think. So I think I'd had a number of red flags thrown my way, and I hadn't realised at the time. Excuse me. they were red flags. So I think that one was the okay.
Yeah.
This is your last morning. Screw the nut.
Well,
So,
live
yeah.
and learn, eh? What was after
Yeah,
that? What other bikes have you had?
I got another J6R1000 after that to take on the world trip, and then when I got back,
Right,
from
so that's the
I
beast.
that's the beast. Still got her. Yep,
Yeah.
103,000 miles on her. Beautiful.
Now I
Big
know
little
I listen to your podcasts a lot. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I've listened to every single one. I hear that you're going to bring this one back on the road, right?
I am. Yes. Actually, the mechanic who worked on the one I threw off the mountain in Germany, Ollie, he now has his own business, independent business away from the dealership where he used to sort of part own. So he's going to come back and help me get that bike back on the road. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool.
yeah, so I came back from the trip and then I bought a Tuono because I'd always wanted the Tuono, fancied something different. I had that for about 4 or 5 months and realised why
Yeah,
they had
Bruce,
the
I'm
reputation.
flicking down through the list, mate.
No worries, man. No worries. Yeah, Tuono sounded amazing, rode amazing, but this is a 2014 model, and it was an utter pig to live with. It was horrendous, really unreliable. So I traded that in for another Gixxer, which is the MotoGP blue Gixxer.
Right.
And then from that, I went to a Triumph Explorer. I had that for about 8 months, that one.
Yeah.
And then the engine blew up on me. So I traded that for my first GS, and we all know where that led. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm a GS man now. At the
There you
moment.
go.
Best bike in the world.
Yeah, that's it. for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's them there.
It's nice, mate. Yeah. What's after the GS then? You going to keep out of the GS or?
Do you know, genuinely, I for me, the GS is the best bike for me at the moment. You know, it does everything I need it to do. It's really versatile. It's the cheapest bike I've ever owned in terms of servicing, which people gawk at, but it genuinely is. It's half the price of the Gixxer in terms of
All
servicing.
right.
Yeah, it's cheap as chips because it's easy to work on. Like valve clearances on a GS are about 260 quid, whereas 10 years ago
Hard, isn't it?
on the Gixxer, they were about 700 quid 10 years ago. So
Behind all the fairings and yeah.
So it's obviously if you need parts, when you need new parts, that's when BMW royally fists you. But in terms of servicing, it's really cheap. So at the moment, I'm holding out for this new one to see what that's going to be like. But you know, if that's a bag of poo, then I'll have to maybe shift elsewhere. We'll see. KTM's always there.
KTM.
To admit. KTM's always there. That's an incredible machine. But
I'm sure Sam will sell it to you sometime.
oh, he's trying. Oh, he does his best. Sheesh. I was riding that bike before, Sam. Don't worry about that. But it's just the reliability and the dealer network. That's what holds me back from it because it's the better bike. For me, it's the better bike in terms of riding and enjoyment. It's amazing. It's a hooligan.
I totally see why you say that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But you just haven't got. I haven't got that. I haven't got a good KTM dealership around me where I am. I haven't got that relationship built up. So, you know, I would be screwed, and I'm going to need them. I probably will need them, I would imagine, because every KTM.
It's a lot of money to spend, isn't it?
Which one's the GT? Would that be the GT, Bruce?
No. I'd go for the SAS, the Super Adventure S is the one I'd go for.
Okay.
I didn't really like the GT. I don't really see the point in it, to be honest, because like the Super Adventure is almost as fast anyway, and it's more practical, and it's I would say comfier. And then if you don't want that, go for the Super Duke. So I don't really see the GT for me just fills a position that in my head doesn't exist for me, but I appreciate for other people it might do.
Yeah. Is that a little bit going like from the 1250R BMW to the 1250R GS or the R1250 GS? Is that similar sort of thing, isn't it?
No,
I know
it's
different.
For me it's the RS. Like for me the RS, I'm just like the RS for me is just for somebody that's not quite. They're in denial about really wanting a GS, but they don't find that they find the RR or the R a little bit too uncomfortable. So it's just that I'm not quite moving to that division yet. I'm hanging on, but I just,
So that would be me. I quite like the RS.
You got the RS. I know loads
No, I
of people
don't have the
do
RS.
have them.
I don't have the RS, but I want to have a look at one. I quite
It's a nice
like the way
bike.
they
It is a
look.
nice bike, but I just think, in terms of performance and stuff, for me, I just jump on the GS or get an RT. If you've got money to burn, get one of them.
Yeah, that's my favourite bike actually. Is the RT.
Again, it's a
always
great
has
See,
bike.
been.
the RT is too big. The GS is too tall for me because I'm a short ass. And the R is just naked. I actually saw somebody who bought the R and then just put like a screen and stuff. It made it look like an RS. So
Yeah.
I quite like the look of the fair bike.
They can adapt it though, noobs. The chassis and the seat on
Yeah.
the GS, and they can lower it right down.
You can get a
So
factory.
you probably could
frame
find that you probably could get on one.
Yeah.
One way or
See,
another.
I get asked about what do I think of this bike and that bike all the time, and it's like I might have a guy who's 5'3", 5'4", and 12 stone, and they'll say to me, "How did you get on this bike?" But I say to them, I'm 6'3" and almost 21 stone, so there's a big difference between, like, for me, the RT, the Goldwing, the GS, they just feel like a good bike to me. They don't feel like a great big massive hulking thing. But
Yeah.
I appreciate for other people that they're totally like a GS or something is totally out of their comfort zone because they're going to be on tiptoes if they can reach the floor. They haven't got the body mass to counteract the weight of the bike. So all those things
It's
don't
mind
really come
over
into my
matter
head.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
mind over
everybody's
matter
got
for
one.
people.
Aye. Yeah.
Mark, let's hear your bike history then, mate. How did you start?
I started off really early, 18, which I've not sent you a picture of the bike. It was a Yamaha 125. Back in the day where you really didn't need to have anything. You just jumped on a bike. And I had an accident where a Sierra Cosworth hit me head on. And that put paid to a conversation with my partner at the time, who's now my wife, asked me to kind of stay away from it sort of idea. I wasn't badly hurt or nothing. I got a really lucky escape for it. And then 5 years ago, I was just sitting having a conversation with the wife, and she says, "Why don't you go and sit your CBT?" So I sat because I've been interested in bikes for that time. That was in 2017, and sat my CBT, booked my direct access that day, which obviously she was horrified at when I got back home. And my first real kind of bike was the GSXR 750 S-Rad, which caused a lot of controversy when that being my first bike. Yeah, that one there. I had 50-50 split on people's thoughts. A new rider, ending up with a 750 sports bike. It was fuel injection. That was a really good bike. Loved it. Had it for just over a year. Done some weird and crazy things on it, and that led on to me thinking, well, my skill level isn't high enough. I'll drop down to a ZX6R, which I did, to learn a wee bit more, progressively faster. I didn't gel with that bike. Similar story to Lochwood. It just, because you had to have it kind of pinned all the time to get into it kind of put me off. And then I moved on to the FZ1, which was a 1000cc naked bike, which I loved. I've regretted getting rid of that bike, to be honest.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
that bike is 150 brake horsepower, is absolutely stuck to the road. Never wobbled once. It was such a great bike, and there was just tons and tons of power there. And
How come you got rid of that one then? Just to move on, or?
yeah, well, what happened was we went to Wildbad, me and Robert, and
It's my fault.
Robert's Robert's with navigation that day. It took us something like 12 hours to get there. We've done
It's,
every
where are we?
small. Aye,
It's his fault.
we've done every small back road, and at times I struggled with it. Robert didn't, obviously, and I thought to myself, touring, I really want to get into this touring. So I then got rid of that and looked at GS, went through all the process. I'm 5'7", so suffered the same problems as all the other short arses. But I've got 30 inside legs, so I had a wee bit of an advantage. And the frame lowered GS with the lowered seat was absolutely perfect. But it was that spending that money on it. So I dipped my toe into the Tiger 800 to see if I really was that interested in touring. So we've done Skye, me, Robert, and 6 other people done Skye last year. We're booked this year again. We're booked to Isle this year again. And the tours are planning to do a trip where we'll do an overnight once a month. So this is the test. This is the test whether I hit the button on the GS. Because I can get
Is it the Tiger 9 that you've got there, is it?
Tiger 800.
Tiger 8, right, yeah.
Which is a fantastic bike, and the whistle after triple is just so intoxicating. It moves. They call it the roadie version because you can put obviously off-road tires, but if you stuck Michelin 5s or 6s on it, you could hammer it. You could have a good time with it. It's a good all-round bike. But if I get through this year and I'm still as focused on getting away all the time and touring, then the GS is there for me. I've sat in a frame lowered factory version with a lowered seat, and there's no issue for somebody at my size. It's my height, so that would be my next bike probably. But I'm missing the FZ1N, to be honest. I'm missing that power and how much fun I've had in that bike. So I might get a second bike. You never know. Might be something there. And that's really it. 5 years now is since I passed my test. 4 years been doing YouTube. More roughly the last 2.5 years, 3 years doing it a wee bit more serious, even though it's a hobby. Still spend a lot of time, as Robert says, a lot of time editing, a lot of time filming, all the faff that goes with it.
Oh, there's loads of it.
I'm loving it. I'm just loving it. I'm loving getting out there. I'm loving putting the videos together. YouTube's it's my journey for passing, and every year I just add more and more videos to it. I've done 200 videos or something, so it's definitely my passion. It's not anything that's going to fade. It's probably going to get more addictive as time goes on.
It does get intoxicating, doesn't it? We're all the same here, aren't we, with YouTube? It literally takes over your life.
Yeah.
Every second of every day I'm thinking about it myself, so. But that's a good thing.
Time it takes. You're going out for a day, you're bringing back 5 hours footage, try to squeeze it in my case, try to get it down to 15 minutes. And it's an absolute nightmare. You're leaving so much stuff out that you'd want to include in it. And it's every time I go out, the cameras are running non-stop. So I'm 5, 6 hours, 7 hours.
Oh, do you? Oh, stuff that.
Yeah, I've got it.
No, I try and push a button when I want to record now.
I've got a rear-facing camera, I've got a 360 camera, I've got the chin mount and the Hero 7 Black. I'm doing all the clapping, closing the visor, stinking everything, and it's just a nightmare.
Yeah. Well, if you're filming like that, you probably only got to clap once anyway, haven't you? You're just leaving the camera running.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many cameras do you run now, Bruce? You got lots of cameras, or?
It depends what I'm doing. Generally, at least 2. Normally, got the helmet camera and the I call it the cockpit one. The one looking back at you on the bike.
Pram cam, we call it down here. Yeah.
What you call it?
A pram cam.
Pram cam.
Because it's like a baby looking up at the mother.
That's it. Generally, I'll have at least them, and then any sort of B-roll. So I might have the 360. I might have another camera or 2 on other bikes or somewhere else on my bike. Drone, phone. So it all depends. And then obviously when I had Innov as the channel sponsor, then I'd have to incorporate their footage every time I was on the GS. So you've got the front and back cameras on that, which is a bit of a nightmare because they work independently of each other. So you can't just sync the front camera and then that's all done. You have to sync the front and rear cameras together, and then they record in like 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10, 15, whatever you set. So I used to set it at 1 or 3 minutes. So then you'll end up with all these individual 1 or 3 minute. You have to lay all them out on the timeline. So yeah, that could be a bit of a nightmare. I'm quite glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, I saw your footage on your rapid training video today. That was fantastic. That was really good. But I'm surprised they don't sync both of them.
I know, and it's different. It's different between like I think the K3, the front and rear footage. From what I remember, that did sync together. Like you could just take the front file and the corresponding rear file, lay them on the timeline, and they would already be in time. But the K5, the rear is generally, it can be anywhere from, like, depending on what frame rate you're filming at, it can be anywhere from like 6 frames to maybe 12 or 18 frames later.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
But it varies from clip to clip to clip to clip to clip. It's not a standard, so you have to.
No.
Yeah. So
Oh no.
all I do is I just lay them all out, roughly all synced, and then when I want to use a bit of footage, then I'll look at the helmet cam and try and find a fence post or a tree, and then look for that in the in-off footage and go right.
Use it at B-roll and just
and just sync them up. Yeah.
Was that 1080p or 4K?
4K. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, the front's
Okay.
4K. The rear's 1080. I think on the K5. Yeah, it is. The rear's 1080 on and off. But I film at 4K 60 on all my cameras, like my GoPros.
Yeah.
And
Me too. Yeah.
And that's another
It's
nightmare.
I won't go into it because you probably don't want to, but it's a shame that all that come to an end, isn't it? Because I thought you were very
enough.
fair what you've done. Yeah, you were very fair in the way that you worded it, and
I think it was coming. Our relationship was coming to an end anyway. We're still on good terms, Like I still really like the dashcam stuff. I love the K3, the K5. I think they're great systems. Not that keen on that helmet camera. The one that I did that they didn't like. I wasn't really keen on that. And then they're starting to do a lot of other things now, which they're starting to do these radar systems, blind spot detection, all this sort of stuff, and I just don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that on a bike. I just think it's going to make people lazy, and you shouldn't need that. But there's counter arguments for all that, I understand. But anyway, it's just coming to an end, and I'm very stubborn, and I like to be able to say what I think. And I think we've got a bit of a responsibility, don't we? In that if you review something, if somebody then goes and spends their hard-earned money on a product or a bike or a set of tires or something which you've said are good, and they're not, I don't know how people could do that, because they're never ever going to trust you again, are they? So this YouTube lark's hard enough to build up a sort of community and a bit of a brand recognition, isn't it? So the last thing I want to do is jeopardize any of that. So I was
exactly,
just like,
I'm
trying to cut as many sponsors as I can and still exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's difficult, isn't it? Yeah, in your position when you're doing it full time, and
I'm a nice little place at the moment in that I like Canary, I like the products that they do. I'm happy to do their trips and do content around that. And then Cali I use all the time, so it suits me. So happy days.
Yeah, Phil, your VTR, what are you doing with it? You selling it today, or are you going to keep it?
Today I'm keeping it. See how I feel tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's a little.
I'll
You
get
know
a
what?
picture
I'm
up of it in a minute.
You're not allowed to sell it until I ride it, and then I might make you an offer.
Okay, no worries. Well, the thing is, I look at Rob behind him with the VFR, and that was I saw the way I think it was about nearly a year and a half ago, where you rebuilt that over the Christmas period, didn't you? And it just became this absolutely beautiful machine from the one that you bought initially, which had not been looked after at all. And the VTR, I just thought, I can strip this, I can rebuild it, I can tidy it all up, get the frame tidy, wheels, brakes, all the engine casing, the swing arm, and the fairing. And I've got it now, and I kind of fall in love with it every time I see it, but I'm not young anymore, and I don't get the most out of that bike. My license is too valuable to me, and it's one of those bikes that it's a quick bike. We all ride quick bikes, but my reactions aren't as quick as they used to be, and my license isn't as I can't walk to work anymore for that way, because I move my business, moved where I work. So
Yeah.
Phil, any time you're on that, you just love it. You can tell how much you just love being on that, even before you got the Harley.
Yeah.
And you spent a lot of time on that, just getting it looking the way it is now, considering the way it was. I thought it looked fine when you bought it, but I know you had an idea, a vision of what you wanted it to look like. I just think it's a beautiful looking thing, and every time you're on it, it shows how much you enjoy riding it.
I love it. I mean, it's done nearly 50,000 miles now. It's got some miles on it, but it's clean and it runs so well. but it's although yes, I love it. Every time I get on it, I love riding it. Within about 20 minutes, my wrists are aching, and my legs start to cramp up, and it's just one of those things. The other thing as well is, and I'm sure we all get this. If I keep that bike, that means I haven't got spare money to go out and buy something different, and we all like to try different things, don't we? So I don't know. Today I'm keeping it. See how I feel next week.
Yeah. See how it goes.
The frustrating thing is, when I do videos with the VTR, I get a load more views than anything when I'm sat on the Sportster.
Oh, do you?
Loads.
Yeah.
VTR videos are just really good for me. I mean, look, by my level of views, they're really good. The Sportster doesn't get anything like as much interest as a bike, because the VTR videos, the vast majority of the comments are about how nice the bike is, how nice it sounds, how good it looks. Whereas the Sportster, it's why you riding that tractor. I'm surprised it started this morning. All those things.
I got a question from Lily Northover, who subscribes to all of us. Have any of you rode the North Coast 500? If you have, which is your favourite part of the North Coast 500? Have you got a favourite part?
I've rode parts of it.
Sorry, go on.
But sorry, Bruce. I've rode parts of it, but I've never gone all the way around. I'd love to do it. I think I'm planning to do it this year. Don't know when, but I'm planning just to take 3-4 days out and do it. I'm quite lucky. I'm only an hour from Lochwood, 2.5 from Inverness. So I can do it. But yeah, I've done bits, but not all of it. I know, Bruce, I've been watching Bruce's Scotland series, and the route that you took, and when you went up towards Fort William and you got the Corrin Ferry, went across towards the lighthouse, went round that back way.
Aye.
I love that route, and a lot of people will just ride to Fort William and back.
Aye. Yep.
And I'm like, no, take the ferry across, go round Agdermuckton, go that way, and do the Mallaig Road on the way back into Fort William, come back that way.
That Mallaig Road's
part.
awesome, isn't it? It's a stonking road. That love it.
Phenomenal.
I'm lucky in that I do my tours now with Simon Weir. So, he's the guy that wrote Biker Britain, Bikers Europe. He's written a couple other books now. He's pretty much the font of knowledge on all. Yeah, there you go.
Arrived today.
He's literally the world leading font of knowledge in best biking roads, almost all over the world. So, like, we sort of buddied up in my chicken strips. He sorts the route out, and I do the filming and sort of bring the punters. And it's brilliant because I've ridden, like most of you, I've ridden all over Scotland, loads. I've done North Coast 500 umpteen times. I've done all the big hitting roads, and I thought, well, I would have done it. I'm one of these people that I don't really recognise the road in a map, but once I'm on it, I'm like, oh yeah, I've done this one. But there were a lot of the roads that I'd never ever ridden before, like especially down in the southwest, like in the borders and Dumfries and all around that sort of way, Dumfries and Galloway. Like, bloody hell, there's some cracking roads here, which I'd just never really explored, to be honest. But Lily, North Coast 500, yes, do it for sure, do it. There's lots and lots of amazing roads off of the North Coast 500, but if you get one chance to do it, just do the North Coast 500 and then you've done it. But if you can get back, have a wee explore off the other bits. For me personally, it's the top, the northwest. I think that, like Sutherland, for me is just, I love it. From like Ullapool.
How busy does it get? Sorry,
it depends when you go. If you go peak season, July, August time, it can be busy. But I don't really see why everyone moans about it because we're on bikes, so you just overtake. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay,
a lot of it's single
track
track road, isn't it? That I hear.
There are, but if you ride properly, if you position yourself behind a camper van, most of them notice that you're there and they will pull over. And you just, because there's passing bays everywhere. Okay, you will get arseholes that won't, but that's just life, isn't it? But most people will pull over and just let you by, and off you go and enjoy yourself. So if you want an empty racetrack, July, August probably isn't the time to go, but you'll still have fun. You still have a good time. And it's always a gamble with the weather, isn't it? Up in God's country, it's always a gamble. So take your waterproof.
Sado, is that something you've ever wanted to do?
Yeah, it's on the list. But Ireland first.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
I'm doing the Wild Atlantic Way in the end of May,
Awesome.
or parts of it anyway. So, and then
Yeah.
perhaps the NC 500 next year. I don't know.
Was that the ferry from Holyhead, I guess, is it? Or
Fishguard.
oh, Fishguard, yeah. And then straight away. Any of you guys done Ireland?
No,
I've done bits of Ireland, never the Wild Atlantic though. I'm dying to do that.
No.
Not on the
Yeah.
bike.
we've been invited a few times, but we've not done it. Talking with
Yeah.
Lochwood as well, a couple other guys.
One of my favourite brew times was when you interviewed Gorilla Biker.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about the Wild Atlantic Way, and it was something that, I mean, I'm jealous. I've only just found out that Saddlebags is doing it, but I'd love to do that at some point as well. That sounds like a really interesting road. I saw $1 Million Bogan did part of it when he did his British tour, and in his own sort of way that he does a vlog, but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gutted. I'm gutted the Gorilla Bikers moved stateside, because he'd be a great crack, wouldn't he? I'd love to get on a beer with him over in Ireland. That would. I think a 5-day trip would end up taking you 3 weeks. I think.
Yeah.
Over there with him.
But I can't watch him now without thinking about the IT crowd, or the IT crowd, because you mentioned about the fact that his voice is exactly the same as the guy from the IT crowd.
yeah. He seems a good lad. Seems a really good lad.
Yeah.
Yeah. How come you started the podcast then, Bruce? It's just that you like talking to people, and
You've probably figured out I like to talk. I'd sort of, for a year or two before COVID, I'd started listening to podcasts. I'd heard all about them, but never really knew what they were. So I think Joe Rogan was probably the first. He was pretty much the only podcast I listened to. So I was just listening to it and really enjoyed this long form conversation, because YouTube was getting ridiculous. YouTube was getting like a 7 or 8 minute vid was a long vid by YouTube standards, wasn't it, at one stage? And all my vids were like 35, 40, 45 minutes long. And I couldn't cut them down in length. I just didn't know how to. You know, I never wanted to let go of any of what I thought was great footage. You know, looking back, it was keek, and that's why they don't get the views. But, you know, I didn't have the ability to be disciplined and cut out all the chuff. I'm still learning. But I love the fact with a podcast, it's just a conversation. You know, you can just, and because of COVID, and I was forced to do it via Zoom, it meant I could start contacting people all over the world and just go, look, I've started this podcast. Do you fancy coming on for a chat? And I was lucky that I had a bit of a following already, that sort of a bit of that moved onto the podcast. So the podcast sort of hit the ground running, really.
yeah.
And,
It's really good. I've listened to every single one of them. It's something I always look forward to
Okay.
on a Wednesday every week, and it's a bit difficult sometimes because I'm at work. I have to be a bit careful, you know, when there's lots of fucks coming out and things like that. I have to be a bit careful with the language with the customers.
When the whiskey starts, oh Jesus.
yeah. But it's great. It's great what you do, and it's something I look forward to every week. So every Wednesday, isn't it? You bring out a new one.
Yeah, new one comes out. The audio will come out every Wednesday, and then the corresponding video comes out the following Monday over on the Brewtime YouTube channel. So I've got the 2 channels now.
While we're on that, Bruce, do you ever, with the podcast, would you ever want to move away from people who are connected to bikes and do more Joe Rogan stuff, where it's a bit more varied?
I do already. You know, it's not just bikes. My podcast really is all about my live your life mantra. You know, I'll have absolutely anybody on if they've got a story to tell. You know, it doesn't matter if they've never ridden a bike before in their life. I've had Atlantic Rowers on. I've had Seb, the 100 Things guy. I don't know if you've seen that. He's a Australian chap. Australian chap who years ago his best friend suddenly died, and it just sort of a bit like me with my mum. You know, it was a bit of an epiphanal moment for him, where he suddenly thought, Jesus, you know, you never know when your time's up here. So he wrote out a list of 100 things he wanted to do before, a bucket list, basically.
Oh, I do remember. Yes, I remember now. Yeah.
So he started this YouTube series of just ticking off this list of things that he was going to do, all sorts of stuff. And it was brilliant. And through that, it's taken him down a path where he now does, you know, he does the corporate speaking stuff, he does motivational talks, mindset talks, all that sort of stuff, all over the world. So I just sent him a DM, I think, on Instagram and said, I love what you're doing. I've got this podcast. This is what it's all about. I'd love to chat to you. And he came on. So it's, I've had loads of different people on there.
Yeah. Do you prefer doing the non-motorbike stuff, or do you not too concerned?
I don't care. I just like having somebody that likes to chat and has got something to say, and whether I agree with what they're saying or not, I like the fact we can have a conversation, because like social media to me it can be really divisive, social media, and there can be so much bollocks out there in traditional media that it's quite nice just to have like this one-on-one conversations with people, and it's long form, so it's not just a little sound bite and then cut, we'll move to something else. It's a 2-way or 3-way, 5 or 7-way conversation where someone doesn't agree, they can say, and then you can counteract that with what you think. Sometimes it changes your mind, sometimes you change their mind, sometimes you don't agree. It's just conversation, isn't it?
Yeah. Social media's kind of killed that. We kind of killed the art of just being able to disagree with each other and still be friends.
Totally. Yeah, totally. It is possible to do that, isn't it?
I don't believe anyone.
It totally is. I mean, I totally disagree with Phil and Saddlebags on most things, but we still like
still
him.
friends.
No, we're not.
Off. Yes.
It's definitely something that Joe Rogan's got down to a T, isn't it? Because some of his have been absolutely brilliant, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've made me think. I tell you one which was good, was the Bob Lazar one that you did.
God, I love all that stuff. Love it.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah. And I must admit, when Bob went on, it was the first time that I've ever thought, actually, are we alone? Is there, have we got spaceships on this planet? And to be honest, I've changed my mind again now. I spent 9 months thinking, actually, I believe him. I've actually gone back the other way again now. So what's your thoughts on that, guys? Are we alone?
No.
Doubt it.
I don't see how we can.
We are one small speck of sand in a massive universe. Anyone who thinks we are the only form of, and I use this in inverted commas, intelligent life is going to be up for a very big shock at some point. What you got to bear in mind.
I hope we're alone, because we're going to get crushed.
Well, this planet's 4.5 billion years old, and we were only here for a very short part of that. And look what we've achieved already. You think of other planets around the universe that have been around for much longer.
Let me rephrase that. Life. Are we alone on this planet, or have they already come down to visit us?
God,
I hope they come and visit us. That's what I'm hoping for before I die. That we get some sort of alien invasion.
Aye.
Steal all the tech.
They've already built a pyramid behind you, mate.
I was thinking, is this some sort of subliminal?
Land this way.
The thing brings
about the pyramids. Some of the hieroglyphs have depict a lot of sort of alien-looking aircraft.
They do. Yeah.
Definitely. Do you watch that series on Netflix? Sorry, what was that? Apologies.
I was going to say, I've mentioned in a video once, has anybody noticed the fact that if you put a drop or a point straight down the middle of the Great Pyramid of Giza, the geolocation of it is the speed of light. Exactly the speed of light.
Is it?
Not close, it's the speed of light. So go on Google Maps, put a spot into it, right in the middle of the Great Pyramid of Giza, and the figure you get, which is its location, search that search the speed of light, and it's the same. That can't be a coincidence.
Okay, but that's just a coincidence, because the geolocation is something men made up. We made that up.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's latitude and longitude before we knew the speed of light, or we made it latitude and longitude before we knew the speed of light.
Yeah, but it was just because it went through Greenwich and was 0, so it could have gone through Paris. It would have been a different number. Well, whatever.
Yeah, too many coincidences there. Have you watched Ancient Apocalypse, that series on Netflix?
No.
If you've got Netflix, everybody, finish this when we finish and go and watch. I think there's 8 episodes, something like that. It's called Ancient Apocalypse. It will blow your mind. That's all I'm saying. Watch it. Ancient Apocalypse.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, but Bob Lazar blew my mind. I mean, after watching the Joe Rogan, I went, because they were promoting obviously the Netflix episodes that were coming out, and I went and watched that as well. And I don't know whether I'm just a believer or I want to believe it, and maybe that draws me in more. But a lot of the stuff he was saying made sense, and I could see it happening. But hey ho.
Yeah, I think we should just have a bit of a backstory there. For those who don't know, Bob Lazar, he worked at Los Alamos, some sort of laboratory, which was top secret in the US. And then he went to Area 51. I think that was the early 80s that he went to Area 51. And he was asked to reverse engineer a sphere of some description. And it was an anti-gravity sphere. So when you went towards it, it would actually push you away. That's the nuts and bolts of it. But he said that he saw all sorts of things. Spaceships, he said there was about 9 of them that he saw. And it's hard to talk about this stuff unless you actually listen to the podcast that Joe Rogan done. It was absolutely I don't believe in that there's people down here, that there's aliens down here, but after watching that, it did change my thinking a lot.
See, when
no doubt about it.
When they described you're talking about the gravity, they called it a gravity drive. It made sense that something like that would work based on what he was saying during it. So,
and he's got a lot of backup as well.
Forward, it actually creates a depression in front of you, so you're sucked into it.
Yeah,
physics is there. It's just we haven't got the ability to produce that sort of energy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and that makes you wonder what's the future, really.
A lot of it, I kind of think to myself, I do think there's these UFOs, but then part of my head, part of my sort of logic mind goes, it's probably just technology that either another country has and we don't know about, or it's ours and we don't want other people to know about, or it's us in X amount of years in the future coming back to have a look. Because I've chatted about this on my podcast. There's loads of times in the past that I'd love to go and see. So if you had the ability to nip back in time and go and have a look, you would, wouldn't you? Would you not go back and have a look, see what's going on? What have we got at the moment? We've just gone through COVID. We've just gone through, we're going through the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, which could potentially lead to all merry hell.
I'll keep me channel, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. At least let me get to 100,000 subs, please. I just want a pack from your toilet.
Hold off until then. Then it's then.
After that, fill your boots. I've got it then. I'll never hit 1 million. So, but it's like a lot of the things where there's a big peak. Rogan's chatted about this, and other podcasts have chatted about it. Where there's a big peak in sightings, all seem to correspond with like iconic moments in history. Like when they tested the first nuclear bomb, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when that went off. Apparently there's a massive peak in UFO sightings. Saddlebags, you chatted about how like some of the pyramids have got hieroglyphics. Well, if something like that was being made, would you not go back and have a look? I would. Yeah, definitely.
We still don't know how it was done, do we?
No.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If you've got the ability to do it, I'm sure we would do it. So. I don't know. Sound like a lunatic.
It's good. It's good to chat about this stuff.
If we woke up tomorrow and someone said categorically, we've proved there is no life outside of the planet, and we proved there is no afterlife, and we proved there is no supernatural. Jesus. Okay, we know black and white, yes or no, but wouldn't it make it a lot less interesting? Isn't the fact that we don't know? Yeah, exactly. The fact that we don't know is what's interesting.
Why would it be depressing? There's still so much to do on this planet that you haven't done.
That's true.
Go out and live your life and stop worrying about green little men. Just like Bruce says, just live your life, enjoy it.
Well, according to David Icke, it's lizard people, isn't it?
There's so many places still to see. I haven't even been to
you
Wales
got a point
yet.
there. Yeah, you do have a point, absolutely. But it's that romanticism of, what else? What else is out there, isn't it? Yeah. But no, I get you. Yeah, there's enough here to keep us occupied in our short little time here, isn't there?
It's the amount of concrete evidence now. Commander David Fravers was another one.
Is it concrete?
He was a pilot. Well, it's on video, isn't it? Is it concrete? I know what you mean, but it seems to come from a lot of credible sources.
There's something on video, But is that extraterrestrial, or is it just technology that isn't public yet?
Well, yeah, no, I
Yes,
totally agree. Yeah.
Everybody's worried about, the outer space and whatever, but there's still so much we don't know about this planet. There's still so much under the sea that we don't know.
True.
The depths of the sea are actually harder to see than faraway stars. Right?
But
And we still
aliens are
haven't
more
explored
interesting, aren't they?
I don't know. Have you seen some of the fish down
And
there?
some smelly seaweed.
The
I think
sea
I'd be more
scares the
interested.
living shit out of me. The sea does. Oh man, freaks me
Yeah.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
Me too.
I've got a fascination with it as well.
Octopus look like aliens to me.
Maybe
A lot of
really
people have
alien.
said that though, isn't there? There's a theory that they are. They're just people. Yeah, that they say there's
I can
just
believe it.
that they're so far outside of anything else on the planet that people are just like, this thing looks like it's from. It just like it's genetics. It's
like it's from
biomakeup.
Star Trek, isn't it?
It's just
the
it's like
60s.
nothing else on the planet.
Like a mother-in-law.
Somebody,
ATM rider, one of them. Yeah.
somebody once asked me a question. We were talking about a similar subject. I work in retail, so I've worked with some teams, and generally when you've nothing today, you come up with the worst questions ever. One of the best questions I was asked was, if we evolved from monkeys, why do we still have monkeys?
If what? Sorry, I missed that.
If man or women have evolved from monkeys, apes, whatever, why do we still have monkeys?
Good point.
Oh God.
So you can tell.
That's a bit deep.
Best question I was ever asked.
That's messing my brain up now. That's it now. I have to shut it off now.
Yeah, I ride bikes. Go, I don't know.
Well, there's a story that we've interbred with aliens, and that's why we're different from monkeys now. Is it the Anunnaki? Came down, they liked us as an interbred.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I've not heard that one.
Have you not?
What have we started here?
I know.
Forget the bikes. Let's move on. Conspiracy.
Hey, Rob, you're Africa twin.
Yeah. Right. Question from Life in the Shady Lane, should I say? Hiya. I bet you wish you never started that now, Brayson. Yeah.
I love it. It's brilliant.
Even in all, being based in the Southwest and subscribing to you all, bearing in mind statistically that one of the two next Teapotone clans meets will be in Scotland, are we thinking that we should incorporate Exeter Rider subscribers ride from Land's End to a clan meet on John O'Groats? In brackets, on electric 125s, non-stop, with no motorways. Or is that going too far? Yes, it is
No,
going
never.
too far.
Go for it.
I think Bristol's
Yeah.
too far.
Yeah. Exmouth is too far for me. Yeah.
Mark Travels is touring going around the world on an electric bike, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's in Africa at the moment, isn't he? I think he's in
Is Morocco or
is it
something?
Western Sahara or Morocco or somewhere. Yeah.
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 Is he
Yeah.
taking
Have you
some
seen-
sort of power banks with him? Is that right? To charge up the batteries?
I don't think he has. No, he's got his missus. Excuse me, his missus has gone with him, hasn't she? She's in a Suzuki Jimny with all their worldly possessions, and then he's on the Zero.
And a giant
And I think-
solar panel.
Yeah, and I think they're just going to go as they go. But were you following Sinji at all? This little wee German lassie, she's the first person in the world to ride an electric motorbike around Africa. She finished it about a month or two ago. It's incredible. I'm trying to get her on my podcast. Amazing story. She
And how does
had
she
one of
charge
those.
it?
She just turned up at little villages and went, "Can I charge this, please?" She had one of these little cake electric bikes, which has a number of. They've got two batteries, interchangeable batteries on them, and she had a great big. Oh God, like a transducer type thing, to deal with AC, DC, whatever they're called. I'm not an electrician, I don't. She had a big pack with her, so she could plug that into any power source, and then that would create or whatever it would
AC
create
to
either
DC.
the AC or the DC charge, whatever it was that she needed to charge up. I'm assuming it would be AC. I don't think she had fast DC charge, but that's what she did. So she would just turn up places because anywhere where people live these days, they've got electric. So she would just turn up and go, "Can I use some of your electric, please?" And that's what she did. She's like 5 foot, tiny little wee lady, and beautiful. Not makes any difference, but beautiful little woman. She doesn't look threatening in any shape or form. So people were just like, yeah, of course, no problem, here. And she's plugged in, charged up, and off she went.
Yeah.
Incredible. Amazing thing that she's just done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you start?
What's the name?
It's Singe. Singe, I think it's Gotthard. You'll find her on Instagram. If you just type in Singe and then Gotthard, Gotthard, I think it is. I think she has a middle name.
Yeah.
fact,
It doesn't
well,
sound like much fun to me to ride an electric bike around Africa, or it sounds like a real pain in the ass. But I guess
Well,
you
she
get to
started in
stop and look around and-
2006.
Oh, did she?
Did
she?
No.
Since I only found her literally
Oh, right,
about
sorry, yeah.
3 months ago.
It's a bit slow
3
on
months
that.
ago. What, she started the
Yeah.
journey in 2006?
No. I was saying that's how
You're
long it
taking
would
the
take
mic,
on a
sorry.
bloody electric bike.
Took me a while
What's it
too
say
on that one.
Yeah, Sinji Oki Gottwald is her
Gottwald,
Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah. 3 years, 6 continents, 100,000 kilometers. Circumnavigated the planet solo on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Amazing.
Fair play.
Sinji.
So yeah, I'm trying
Yeah, I
to get
wish
her on
they
the
would
podcast.
start-
Yeah.
I wish they'd start making these bikes rather than being really good performance. I wish they could use some of that performance and turn it into range. That would be helpful rather than an electric bike that
Not
does
possible at the
140,
moment.
150 miles an hour.
It's just technology won't allow it at the moment. It's just we don't have the battery technology yet. That's what's limiting electric motorbikes at the moment, is to have a battery that will give you the range that people want, like a usable 100 miles at the moment. You're talking about 100-kilogram battery. That's why we can't have interchangeable batteries yet for these big motorbikes. You can get it for the smaller ones and for the city bikes, but you can't get it for the big sort of traditional.
No, sorry.
motorbike.
What I'm talking about is that, like the Energicas, they go like hell, don't they? They got not a very good range, but they go really quick. But make them a bit slower, but give us a bit more miles per charge.
Yeah, but that's what your throttle's for. You only get that performance when you twist the throttle. Do you know what I mean?
I get you.
could
But most
trundle
people
along
will
if you
twist
want.
the throttle, won't they?
Yeah, but you could say that about petrol bikes. You'll get a great range on petrol bikes if you sort of trundle everywhere at
Hold off a
45,
bit.
50
Yeah.
mile an hour. Yeah, and you don't power off the line. You'll get a great range. And modern, to be honest, you could argue modern petrol engines are probably even more economic than, or are greener in the long run than electric. You could say that at the moment. So
Yeah, agreed.
but it's a finite resource, which is what I don't understand with electric, because lithium and cobalt are finite resources. So we're going to run out of that.
Electric
damn
is just
quick.
a stopgap. It's just a stopgap until we
Totally.
can produce some sort of biofuel.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah.
10 years, the electric thing will have burst and we'll be into biofuels or
I think you're totally right. Yeah.
alcohols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
How are you
see.
getting on with
We'll see.
DCT, Rob?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's easy. You just press a button and go. The hardest thing for me is really slow speed maneuvers, when your throttle is on and off and you don't have a clutch there to regulate it. And they say use the back brake, which you can to a point, but I think I'd need to spend 3 weeks in a car park to try and get it perfect. But I do like it. I still kind of miss a clutch, but then I've got the VFR for that.
Exactly,
That's great for just throwing about twisties and having a bit of fun. It's not the fastest bike in the world. It's 30 years old, but it still brings a big smile to my face. I love the V4 engine. But getting back to your question, yeah, I do like it. Would I get another one? I don't think BMW do DCT, so I don't really know.
No. I don't think anyone does. I think it's only Honda, isn't it, that do DCT?
Yeah.
I think Yamaha did have a go at one time, but then they kind of shelved that
Does
pretty quick.
the MV Augustus do the recluse clutch? So what's it called, recluse. So you'd actually have to apply the clutch at all, but you still have to shift the gears yourself.
Yeah.
I've
I
heard
did-
rumours.
Even when you stop, you don't have to pull the clutch. You only have to pull the clutch in to go from neutral to first, and then you basically off you go.
Alright.
It's
Yeah.
it's incredible.
Yeah, so you've still got a clutch there if you need to do the slow speed manoeuvres,
Aye.
but you're not using the clutch any other time. Yeah.
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 But again, it's
I've-
just like I'm guessing it's just like if you had to do slow speed maneuvers on a scooter, on a twist and go, right? You'd have to drag the back brake. So you have to rev it
Yeah.
and back brake it.
Yeah.
What's Bruce thinking? I see the cogs
Yeah.
turning there, Bruce.
Well, there's a couple. Firstly, other brands with DCT, I've heard rumours, and I genuinely hope that these aren't true, but I've heard rumours of a possible DCT type technology in the new GS, and I really hope that's a load of bollocks, because that could be a game changer for me, and I just wouldn't. No, thank you. And then the other one was where DCT has made sense for me. It was on the Goldwing, and it was just perfect on the Goldwing. And I think it's just to do with the gearing, because slow speed maneuvers on the Goldwing were a piece of pee. They were really probably because the thing weighs like 9,000 tons and it's all below your feet. So, it's a beautifully balanced bike. So slow speed maneuvering was really easy on it, but it didn't snatch in the DCT. Like I had the Africa Twin DCT, the Adventure Africa Twin, and that I've heard that's been developed a lot since I had that bike. But that to me was really quite snatchy and very intrusive. I didn't like DCT on that bike. But I've heard now
I found the same actually on the Africa Twin. I found it a bit snatchy at slow speed, whereas my NC isn't snatchy at all, really.
Yeah.
What
year
was that? Smaller engine. Sorry.
What year was that you had it? The Africa Twin.
That's in 2022.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. So
Well, I've done the 2022 and I've done the 2019, which was the 1000 as opposed to the 1100. The 1000 was very abrupt. You could go into a corner, open it up, and it'll clunk down or clunk up, whatever it wants to do. But they added an IMU in, I think it's 2021, was it? No, 2019 or 2021. They added another IMU, which stopped that happening.
I think it would be 21. The one I had, apparently, the update after that apparently sorted that out.
Because you go, Mark.
I had a shot. Well, I was lucky enough that Lochwood decided to let me have a shot on his bike, considered I could have dropped it the second I sat in it. But the DCT in sport modes wasn't it the first drive mode? It was, what mode was that? Sport 2?
Sport 2, yeah.
And I'd never rode a DCT, and it was absolutely fantastic, and I had no issue with it whatsoever. But
transforms it, doesn't it?
Don't go in the drive. Don't stay on the drive mode. Change it to sport mode.
Aye.
And it was fantastic.
Drive's horrible, isn't it? It's literally in sixth gear before you're in like 20 mile an hour.
20 mile an hour. Yeah.
It's
I know it's shockingly bad for that.
Yeah.
But it's only there for economy, though, isn't it? To be fair, that's why they've done that. It's just to save the fuel, which a lot of people. I leave mine in Sport 1 all the time for that reason. It just gets really irritating,
But then there'll be lots of people out there that like riding it in drive. It suits them. So it's
absolutely.
This is for cool, isn't it? So,
each to their own, absolutely, mate.
Absolutely.
I think one of the things, I know Bruce has mentioned this when he was speaking to Dickie Vegas. There's times where you're maybe going round a roundabout and it'll decide to go down a gear or go up a gear. And I think you've just got to get to know it.
Right.
You know when it's going to do it. And I've seen me hitting a roundabout a little bit faster than I would, because I know if I go below that speed, it will drop down. So I'll try and keep it above it. And I don't know whether that's like somebody giving you a push and they're telling you to, on you go, just go that wee bit quicker and you'll be fine. It's like it kind of improves your riding a bit. It's like swings and roundabouts. You either love it or you hate it. The kind of biggest issue I think with someone taking it for a test drive, you'll never within an hour of riding that bike know if it's for you or not. You really have to have it for a day, a week, a month to get used to it. I was at least a month before I get used to it. But I love it. And when I'm doing some twisty routes, I'll drop it into manual mode and I'll just flick between third and fourth, and I don't need to go anywhere else. Just jump between third and fourth and manual, and it's great.
Yeah. See, I never do that. I've got obviously I've got the option on my NC to go to manual, but I never do. I'm fine with it in DCT, and
Yeah.
works for me. Sometimes I go into drive, sometimes I go back to sport again. It just works. Yeah. Yeah. If anyone else tried DCT, or is it? No, just us three. Yeah, but you're right about the Goldwing, Bruce. It's so smooth, isn't it? It's unbelievable. Even
That's probably the
starting
biggest
Goldwing up,
surprise
you
for
don't
me.
get no rumble at all, do you?
Yes,
It's
so
just-
refined, isn't it? But it's I think the Goldwing. I think it was the Sport Goldwing. Is that the one I had? That had the big wing chair at the back and everything on it. That for me, I think that's probably my biggest surprise in biking. I
Is
loved
it?
it.
Yeah.
It was. Excuse my language, but dog shit boring on the big straight dual carriageway motorway roads where I thought it was meant to be. It was rubbish. It's limited to 114. Obviously, that's fast enough, but you would think that size of bike, and if you're paying £32,000, I want a wee bit more out of the engine. Thanks very much. So it was limited, but where that bike comes alive, you whack it in sport, and you come off onto the twisty A roads and the B roads. So that the backcountry scratchers, where I thought that bike would be no use whatsoever, it is amazing. It's stunning. So well balanced. You can literally throw the thing on its ear. And I had my wife on the back, and she's not one for that type of riding, and she was loving those twists. She was like, buy one of these. Give me the money. And
You do notice it though, don't you, when you're coming up to a corner on a Goldwing, that the weight of it. You know,
Just
when you start
sticks.
braking, you think, oh shit, yeah. You can feel that it is a 300k. Was it 350 kilograms? Isn't it? Something
it's
like
more.
that.
I think it's even more.
380
than that.
maybe. Yeah, I think it's around 350,
it's a lot.
380.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. But I didn't. The only time I felt the weight to any degree was just trying to push it. Well, trying to push it backwards into my garage, but then it's got a reverse gear, so I didn't even need to do that. But under braking, under power, turning, cornering, I just thought the thing felt incredible. It felt reassuringly stuck to the road. This bike will not lose contact with the road. I loved it.
It will do with that weight. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with me on it as well. I'm another 130k, so it's like half a ton coming down the road. But I would not spend £32,000 on one at all.
No. There's lots of other options, isn't there? You know.
Why?
I'm
Just
hoping
wait
to get
8
one
months.
this year, actually.
Are you?
Yeah.
What,
should
buy
be,
one?
Yeah. No.
You're gonna buy?
No, Christ, no. No, I want to keep my wife at
Bloody
the
hell.
moment. No, not that loaded, mate. But what have you got coming up trip wise, then, guys? You got any trips coming up? Mark,
Yeah.
it looks like you have.
Yeah, we're going. Me and Robert are doing Skye, Wildbad. We're planning, what is it, one overnight per month to get a wee bit warmer up. So,
Yeah, that's it. I
You
think
go,
we'll do a wee one nighter, maybe 2 nights. Who knows? Just do it over a weekend or something. I don't. You know what? I'm not that keen on camping. I want to be keen. I want to do it, but
I know the feeling. Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm just. I want to
it.
know that I can just chuck the tent on and go and, do 150, 200 miles, find a nice wee bit at the side of the road and just pop a tent and make a coffee in the morning. But I just.
The reality
know,
of it, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
It
that's what I
sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I know
Where are you
people
going to
do
go
it all the time.
Where are you going to go to the toilet? Where are you going to shower?
Yeah. I'm like that at the ABR festival. I go up in the van and I hate sleeping in the van. Waking up in the morning and feeling like a homeless person. It's just like, what am I doing? I've worked hard all my life and I'm stuck in here.
the good thing is we've got me and Robert have got there's a group of 10 of us that we've really became kind of close in arranging trips around about the 10 people. So that came through our Skye trip. Wildbad, there was only 3 of us went to it last year, but how many's gone this year? There's quite
There's
a
10
few
years.
gone this year.
There's 10 years going, yeah.
And then
So
we've
we
got
just stay in a
10.
hostel.
Aye, we've got tennis staying in Skye in the hostel again because nobody wants to camp in Skye, which is understandable. If you don't, you do have to make exceptions of where you're going to pee and where you're going to do everything else. But I think that's part of the adventure. So me and Robert kind of disagree in the camping side. It is what it is, and you can get, you just get that time where it's quiet and you've got time to reflect and everything, and I really enjoy it. So we'll see what happens this year.
Yeah.
I want to
The
get
thing
behind
is, I think if you went camping with somebody that likes camping and they're really experienced in it and what to do, how to dig a hole to go for a shit and stuff like that, and just how to do stuff, I think I maybe would enjoy it. But when you're a novice and, well, anybody can say, all I need is a tent, I just need to find somewhere and I can pitch it. Yeah, but when you're with somebody like, he's followed the Punkster, who does tons of camping stuff and tons of tips. If I had a couple of weeks with the Punkster, then I think maybe I would get to enjoy it, even though he sounds like a porn star. But yeah.
So it's funny that you've been to, how many wild baths have you been now, Lochwood?
Just the
2,
one.
3?
Last year, last year was the first time we'd been there. Yeah. Which is different because you're in a big field where everybody else is doing it. All you have to do is
it's ironic
pitch a
that
tent.
you went to Wild Bad last year and you've been digging holes, taking a shit in the hole, and now they're moving venues this year.
Yeah, but we don't know where they're going, though, do we? We still don't know where it is.
Oh, he's keeping it secret, isn't he? Yeah.
I know.
Are you going, Bruce? You're not going
No,
this year?
I'm. Where am I?
You're in Morocco or something? You're going somewhere?
I'm in Morocco, yes. Windswept and interested. I'm still in Morocco at that point, so yeah, I'll just miss it.
Yeah.
I think I'll just be on my way home, actually, for a while.
Is that chicken strips again?
No. This Morocco trip is with Lyndon down at Toro, in southern Spain, Toro Adventure. So he's invited me down there with Pete English and I think there's a Norwegian chap. I think it's a Danish chap. There's a group of maybe 5 or 6 of us going on that, mostly off road, believe it or not. So it's on the tractors, on the GSs. So yeah, it should be a giggle. Looking forward to it. I love Morocco. Brilliant country. So looking forward to going back.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that something you'd ever wanted to do, Saddle? Go over to Morocco? You like your off-road stuff, don't you?
Well, since watching Old Wild and Free, it looks pretty cool. Yeah,
it's a pretty cool place to ride, isn't it? Yeah. Excellent. Right, start wrapping up now, folks. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. Just look at my notes. Happy birthday to Andy GSA Tractor tomorrow. It's a big 5-0 tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Andy.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, mate.
50 years
next
young.
week,
Flash.
Next week, I have a test ride on their Suzuki V-Strom 650. This will be going out as a podcast. So if you, it will be a filtered down version. Obviously, you can't see the graphics like you can here. So if you're listening on the podcast, come back to the my YouTube channel, Exeter Rider, to see the full video. Thanks to the commenters in the side chat. I haven't really had time to keep up with it today because it's been flicking through so quickly. Lady J Rider, Andy. No, I think a lot of it's a conversation between themselves. A lot of it, you know what it's like. Twist and Go, Andy GSA, Dan the Medic, nice to have you here, mate. Blake's, Pipes, Peaky Biker, Wiremat actually. Peaky Biker is, no, not that one. Where is it to? So many here. Peaky Biker is doing a charity challenge around the coast of the UK, 4,300 miles, and he's doing it in 14 days. And it's to support Scotty's little soldiers. So good luck to him on that. That's not until May time. I can't quite remember when now, but he'll be doing that soon. I've chucked a tenner in for him. So if you go onto the website or his YouTube channel, then you'll be able to see how to donate to that. So that's all good there.
His midweek live streams, he talks more and more about it for anybody that's wanting a more in-depth information about it or track it or anything that they're wanting to do to help them. And a Wednesday night he does his mid-week mumble, which is a good place to go and listen into so that you get more information about it.
Yeah, 8 o'clock every Wednesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
every Wednesday. So
And he always
we've got-
finishes at 10 on the sharp, 10
Aye,
o'clock.
yeah, aye.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the Peaky Biker on YouTube. So search him. He'll be jumping for joy now. I've said that, won't he? He owes
He'll
me
be
one.
giving-
He owes me a beer
he'll-
for that.
He'll give you your tenner back.
Yeah. Shall we talk about the stamp, Rob? That when you sent me some stickers.
Oh, do you really? Do you want me to say it? When
I'll do it.
last
Shall I?
place I
I'll do it
worked-
if you want.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it because I've got the right story. So, where I worked before, we had a drawer that was full of stamps, and I was in work one day on my own. I was sending you some stickers. I was sending Exeter Rider some stickers, and I thought I'll just pull a stamp from the top drawer. It's only a stamp. Nobody's going to miss it. So I stole a stamp from the top drawer of the place I last worked, and that's not the reason why I'm not there anymore. It's not over a stamp. So I pulled it out, put it on, posted it, and I didn't realise it was a 1p stamp. I thought it was a first class stamp. So
Nice.
when Exeter eventually got it, he had to go and pay the penalty to actually go and
£2.
get it.
£2 with some Lochwood stickers.
Brilliant.
Yeah, when he initially messaged me on it, I thought, he was just having a laugh, he just winding me up. But no, I couldn't believe it. And I went back and I looked in that drawer, who buys 1p stamps?
I know.
You're not doing.
Scottish
you're not
people,
doing-
you
you're
got
not doing- You're not doing the stereotype any favors here.
I know.
Definitely not, no.
Well, do you know what? He passed that on because I had to go and pay for a bloody package he sent to me.
He thought that's a good excuse.
Yeah. Rubbing out the ink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you very much for coming on. Very much
No
appreciated. Saddlebag 73, new biker, Western Super Motor Vlog. Catch up on the podcast would be great. We're available from Apple Cast and Spotify and all the rest of them. So I think I've got 5 or 6 on there now. I think I've got 150 downloads now, Bruce. You impressed?
Good man. Good man.
Nothing like your 15,000, is it? But
Yeah,
you know.
everyone starts. God, I'm like 100 and something odd in. So yeah, good on you.
Yeah, got to start somewhere, mate. Yeah, I enjoy it
Absolutely.
as well. So, Lochwood, thanks for coming along. Much appreciated,
Thanks for
mate.
having me.
Mark, superstar, thank you very much. Bruce,
Cheers for the
thanks a
invite.
lot.
Loved it.
Pleasure. Nice to meet you
I
guys.
appreciate all you
Thanks for
guys on,
listening and
Bruce.
watching.
Even, yeah, no problem. You as well, Bruce, because I understand that you fully have to make a living out of this thing these days, and so you coming on for the money that you're getting paid for this, which is nothing, is very much
don't worry about
appreciated.
that.
So thank you very
No
much.
worries.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
for that.
I like to talk. My pleasure.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, and thanks to the people in the side chat as well. I've run through you all anyway. Peaky Bliker, Blake, Howie 702, Twist and Go, Lady J Rider, Somerset Biker, Sussex Biker. Hello, mate. See you at the ABR. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for everything. Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Cheers.